following suit. This is one of the issues I have with Bitcoin and why I ultimately think even if we get a move to 29,000, I still think we're going down to 20,000, maybe 15, maybe even lower, is that Bitcoin has no identity right now. All right, gold rips, Bitcoin doesn't do anything. The stock market goes up, Bitcoin doesn't rally. So, there's two narratives. There's, it's the digital gold. Well, it's not rallying with gold. Okay, so it's not that. The stock market has rallied. We saw a massive rally recently in the NASDAQ just the last, until yesterday, the last week or so. Bitcoin didn't budge. In fact, it went down. So this is the thing, is that Bitcoin needs to figure out who it is and what it is. I do think eventually it grows into digital gold, and I do think it goes to 100K, 200K, 300K, etc. But right now, there's this identity crisis because money's being pulled out of the system, and it's on the risk curve. Speaking of risk, but I consistently make money by taking profits off the table. People get too greedy, and that honestly is one of the major issues with why people lose money. As your move here, if you map that out from here, it takes you to my target. I've gone over this before, $1,100 on Ethereum. The key here, the next
The Israel war may temporarily impact the crypto market, but historical data suggests that there will be no significant long-term impact, and investors should focus on diversifying their portfolios and monitoring key indicators to navigate potential volatility caused by geopolitical events. Bitcoin's lack of identity and failure to follow market trends suggests a potential decline to $20,000 or even lower, despite a possible short-term bounce to $29,000. Bitcoin is currently experiencing an identity crisis as money is being withdrawn from the system, causing it to not rally with gold or the stock market. But the speaker believes it will eventually grow into digital gold and reach high values. Money is being pulled out of the market, starting with meme coins, then alts, BTC, small caps, mid caps, large caps, and mega caps, which explains why meme stocks and coins are struggling. But once the money starts coming back in, a bottom will be made.
Bitcoin. And we sold literally a day or two later. Boom. Now you've had boom, boom. I mean, this is all bullshit, excuse my language, chop, right? This is all nonsense chop. Who cares? I don't even want, why am I wasting my money in chop? I want to get the biggest bang for my buck out of it in the quickest amount of time. And again, the more you stay in an investment, and this is why, like if you're long-term in your 20, 30-year horizon, awesome. If you're like a year, 2 years, 5-year horizon, at some point the market will do something to make you make a mistake. The longer you stay in it, the more likely policy by the Fed screws up your investment, policy by, a war breaks out, this happens. There's so many risks. It's like driving through a minefield, frankly, and you have to be aware of that. So there's two ways to invest. One is much more shorter term, or one is very long term. People that kind of are mixed and like, that's not going to work in my opinion. Just my opinion, but that's what I think. Okay, last couple things here, guys. Bitcoin. Let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is catching a small bid today. But again, Bitcoin is just kind of going sideways. Just a reminder on Bitcoin, we basically have this high going across, and then we've created this little right here. We've broken below. Unless you can recapture this area, then the favoring is down here before maybe a bigger bounce to the upside. Good to see gold ripping today. Bitcoin's not following suit. This is one of the issues I have with Bitcoin and why I ultimately think even if we get a move to 29,000, I still think we're going down to 20,000, maybe 15, maybe even lower, is that Bitcoin has no identity right now. All right, gold rips, Bitcoin doesn't do anything. The stock market goes up, Bitcoin doesn't rally. So, there's two narratives. There's, it's the digital gold. Well, it's not rallying with gold. Okay, so it's not that. The stock market has rallied. We saw a massive rally recently in the NASDAQ just the last, until yesterday, the last week or so. Bitcoin didn't budge. In fact, it went down. So this is the thing, is that Bitcoin needs to figure out who it is and what it is. I do think eventually it grows into digital gold, and I do think it goes to 100K, 200K, 300K, etc. But right now, there's this identity crisis because money's being pulled out of the system, and it's on the risk curve. Speaking of risk curve, what is the risk curve? Here's a risk curve. Well, we'll do a line. Over here you have meme coins, right? Meme coins. Then over here you have alts, right? Then over here you have BTC. Okay? Then over here you have small caps. All right, we're going to stocks now. Mid caps. Okay? Mid. All right, then you have large caps and mega caps, right? So when money gets sucked out of the market, out of the system, like the Fed is doing by interest rates being raised and they're reducing their balance sheet, money leaves this area first, this area second, this area third, this area fourth, this area, and so on and so forth, right? And that's what you want to understand, is that eventually money gets sucked out until money starts coming in, until the printing presses start rejuvenating, and until we see the Fed lowering interest rates. So really important stuff to think about in terms of the risk curve and understanding why are meme stocks or meme coins and alts struggling so much. It's because the money, that's the riskiest investment there is. All right, it's really the riskiest. And though that's where when you pull the money out, that's where it's going to come from first, and it still stays in these. When all out panic hits, finally these go, and then that's when a bottom is made. That's when a bottom is made. All right.
Bitcoin's probabilities of reaching 29,000 have decreased to around 60% due to a broken bullish area, and if it continues to trade below 255, the chances of it dropping to 20,000 or even lower become very real. While Ethereum's chart is not looking good with a head and shoulders pattern triggering a bear flag, and if it breaks below 1,150, it could potentially reach $1,100, indicating that Bitcoin may also drop to 20,000 at least, and Bitcoin dominance. Today we bring the charts expert Gareth Soloway to prove to you the next targets of Bitcoin and Ethereum amidst the war in Israel and Palestine. I tell you, the next targets are so clear. It's very important to trust the charts when investing and trading, as it increases the chances of winning trades, even though it doesn't guarantee wins. In case you want to master charts and crypto technical analysis, access our top-selling course at 60% discount from Extra Skills Institute. The link is the description below. Now listen, Gareth Soloway.
Flipping over real quick to the oil chart. Remember a couple days ago when we got the pop on the back, unfortunately, of the war in the Middle East there? What I saw here, folks, I sold my long on oil right up here. Look at the retrace today. We're popping, but it just shows you can't go wrong taking a profit. Sure, it could go higher, but you're still pocketing a profit. The biggest saying in the world is no one goes broke taking a profit. And think about it. It's true. It is true. So again, don't be shy about that. I definitely don't sell at the highs on most charts, but I consistently make money by taking profits off the table. People get too greedy, and that honestly is one of the major issues with why people lose money. They keep thinking they can do better and better. All right, Bitcoin. Bitcoin yesterday broke this little bit of a channel here. So again, we were looking at that. That gave us about 70-75% success rate upside move here. It's broken, but it's still above this bullish area right in here, okay? So again, probabilities. This is where probabilities switch. If you had stayed in here, 75% chance it was going to 29,000. Now that it's broken, as long as it holds above this line at around 25.5, probabilities are probably about 60%. So probabilities have come down. They're still greater than 50% on the bull case, but not by a whole lot. If this line breaks and we start trading down here on Bitcoin, you're going very, very, very negative. Very negative, and my longer term projections of 20,000, maybe even 15 or lower, become very, very real, guys. All right, quick little showcase on Ethereum. Ethereum, guys, the chart continues to be honestly not very pretty. There's your head and shoulders. It triggered, right? So we look at this. We see this. There's your shoulder, head, shoulder. It triggered. It's now been bear flagging. It's right holding support. If this breaks, you get your next leg down. Doing that measured move here, if you map that out from here, it takes you to my target. I've gone over this before. $1,100 on Ethereum. The key here, the next trigger point is going to be a break of 1550 or so. That breaks, it should be on its way generally to 1100. If it goes to 1100, guys, Bitcoin's going to probably go to 20,000 at the very least. But by the way, Bitcoin dominance still stepping up very, very nicely. Lastly, we have earnings here on Delta Airlines. Last I checked, Delta Airlines was positive. Yep, it still is. This is your pre-market data. Well, you got this major support here, and you're still within a beautiful channel to the downside right there. So the chart is holding. All right, so anyways, that's, again, just an amazing lesson to behold, guys. I do want to go over Bitcoin real quick. I'm not going to have much time to do much else. Bitcoin is falling a little bit today on the charts as we flip over to that. The only thing I want to kind of bring your attention to here is still the chart. The chart is everything. So on a short-term basis, let's analyze this. In fact, I'm going to bring it up a little bit so we can get it a little higher on the chart for you guys. All right, so Bitcoin has a resistance line right in here. From this previous top, we pierced it. That's resistance number 1. Resistance number 2 is right up here, which coincides with this area, and then resistance number 3. As it comes down, ideally you want to see a daily close within these lows. Right now we're below that, but we want to see where today closes. If it closes below, it doesn't make it fully negative, but it does hurt the bull pattern a little bit. This pattern then would no longer be valid, but you're still above this down-sloping trend line here. So what you're doing here, and this might be a little bit complex, but essentially it adjusts the odds. So imagine when you're in this range, if the odds of a move up are probably, let's say, 80%, okay? Now, that's pretty heavily favoring the upside. If we close below this line, but we still remain above this down-sloping trend line, the odds probably adjust to 65% probability that it's up. If you break this line, all of a sudden, the odds of up go below 50% to, let's say, 30% upside. So do you see how at each level as a trader, it's not, there's no like it's 100% this or 100% that. It's literally like the adjustment of odds. Like, think about it. If those of you guys that watch World Series of Poker, you see how the odds adjust every card that's dealt? It's the same thing. Each card here, right? And shout out to Gianni there in Vegas. I know he'll understand this. But essentially what you have, guys, is that every candle you get is like you're flipping over a card in poker. And it will adjust your probability
with the next video.
to what the
Thank you
next
so much
move
for
is.
watching.